Hi, this is Trey Graham welcoming you to another edition of the Cardinal Scoreboard Show, brought to you by the Dugout Sports Grill. Today's edition will look a little different than what you're used to. Everyone in Cardinal land understands it was a tough loss last Friday in the fourth round of the playoffs to Stephenville. The Cardinals finished a tremendous season with an 11-3 record, and everyone has a lot to be proud of. But Matt Nally and I will talk about football next week. Instead, for tonight, we're going to focus our attention on another winning program within the Melissa Cardinals family, and that is the Mighty Cardinal Band. Hi, welcome back to the Melissa Cardinals Network. We have a special guest here on the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. We're joined by Jerry Wharton, the Director of Fine Arts for Melissa Schools. Mr. Wharton, welcome to the Cardinal Scoreboard Show.
Thank you for having me out tonight.
It's good to visit with you. Now, you need to talk loud like you're yelling at these drum majors and band majors and all this stuff. We need to learn some terminology, by the way. So, before we get to all that, 6 years in Melissa ISD. Where before that?
For Melissa, I was in Winona, Texas for approximately right at 9-10 years.
Okay.
There was a stint at Navarro College that I taught at the college level, but my heart is without a doubt in the K through 12 setting.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Palestine, Texas.
Texas.
About 15 miles from Coach Nally.
Is Frankston?
Frankston
that's like
Indians.
the Mecca over there?
Yeah, it's the Mecca.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the values of what we had in that small town are the same values we have here in Melissa. It just makes it so special. And it's the same reason when me and my wife moved out here, we wanted our kids to grow up with the same values we have out here in Melissa, and it's just a special place.
Good.
You think about athletics, you think about fine arts, you think about academics when you come to Melissa, and all three are excellent here.
Very good. The Director of Fine Arts. Now, you used to be the Director of Bands.
Yes, sir.
What's the difference?
Just a little bit more under that umbrella.
Okay.
It's all the same. We still loved our kids. We still advocated for all kids. It just allows a formal opportunity for me to assist those same programs, the theater, the choir, the art, and band, of course, and to help grow them, help them perpetuating from one program to the next, and make sure that we're all consistent and always allowing our kids to be successful.
Now, you told us before we started filming that you've watched a few of these programs, so you've
yeah.
seen Matt Nally in action. Talk about him as a colleague and as a friend.
Matt's a great man. He's a godly man. He's somebody that I want my children to be around. He is someone that is just an absolute pleasure to work with. I don't consider him the head coach. I don't consider him the head coach lives across the street from me. I consider him a great man that happened. I'm fortunate enough to have conversations with him. He shares the same loves that I do. He'll tell all of our kids, hey guys, y'all are the heartbeat of a football game. He goes, but don't forget, I played the trombone in Frankston, Texas. And so you may not know that about Nally.
I did know. I did. He's told us on the show. Yeah.
And so Nally's heart is in the right place. And just, who he is and what he stands for is everything we are in Team Melissa.
Talk about the band program specifically. I mentioned those leaders, your student leaders. Tell us who they are. Tell us how they get their roles. Just give us their responsibilities.
Sure. So our head drum major this year is Autumn Bell, and then we have 3 assistants. We have Jackson Thomas, Sydney Smith, and Skylar Card. Each of those students possess a quality and a skill set of leadership skills that just is above the others, and not above in the sense they're better, but above in the sense that there's some natural leadership skills that come with that, but there's also just the drive to be right and do right in all things they do. How
do they get that position?
They work hard, and they prove themselves through a series of tests. They prove themselves through a series of training. And they prove themselves through just a series of being able to endure the process. And our process that we build here, our philosophy in band is teach life through music. And so, yes, we were really excited to have the success we had this fall and last fall, but most importantly, those kids know how to look and stare failure in the face and say, okay, what can I do to take the next step forward? And so every kid that comes through our band program, they know how to handle struggle. And struggle is so important for that next step of success.
You guys had a big competition a few weeks ago.
Absolutely.
Tell us about it.
We went on to, we qualified for state marching contest, and to give you guys a little bit of background on what it takes to be at state, you have to go on to region marching contest, was region based, and you have to earn a first division. We were fortunate that we've earned all first divisions. There were 3 judges. All 3 judges says, hey guys, you're there. We went on to area contest, which was against the best 30 bands in the state of Texas in our area, and we placed in the third out of that group, and we went on to advance to state. And unfortunately, our area is comprised of the best bands in the entire state. So first place was your Argyle, second place was your Canton, and third place was Melissa. And so we went on to state marching contest in San Antonio. We were second in prelims, and then you get a second round with a different set of judges, different panel, different set of opinions, because art is subjective. And we fell from the second spot to the third spot in finals. But I say fell like it's a failure. But
Sure.
It was
third in the States.
Quite an honor.
Sure. Judges, what are they looking for? How's it scored? Teach us how the process works.
So you have 3 judges that are geared towards your music, and you have 2 judges that are geared towards visual. And entertainment's taken in there, your colors are taken in there. So you sometimes ask the question, okay, it's Melissa band, why are they not wearing red, black, and white? Okay, well, we have the color aesthetics that have to go in with our show concepts. And so when you look at our show, you watch it, and this year's show was about flying in the 50s and 60s, and the prestiginess of it. When you were a child, you flew an airplane, you probably wore a shirt and tie. You probably had some of those other things in there.
Well, that's okay.
Back in the day.
Sure.
So all being said, our show was centered around flying, and we had the George Gershwin portion of that just tied in the Delta Airlines theme of flying with Rhapsody in Blue, and then we had several pop tunes that were tied into that, and the show ended with 2 of our own students playing piano, George Gershwin, and Lenny Kravitz guitar. There was literally smoke and lights and all kinds of theatrical moments in there just to capture the audience. And one of the things we take pride in with our shows is we don't only want to entertain to Saturdays to the judges, but we want to entertain most importantly to Friday night to our parents and the students in the stands. And we think we finally have found a formula that's the right mix, and it's just about refining it. So what do the judges look for? They're looking for a high level of content mastery. They're looking for a high level of just intellect. I can see the initial meeting on the surface, but can I get down 3 layers deep and find the musical and the theatrical hidden meanings with that? And so we do a really good job with that, Melissa. We're fortunate to have a team. We talk about our student leaders, but our band staff as well. Jordan Hayes, Zach Robinson, Taylor Tucker, David Landry, Mike Wimberly. Those guys are what I would consider colleagues and what I would consider great friends and great family members of mine that I spend way more time with them in the fall months than I do my own family. But the creative side comes from those guys, and I'm the guy who's just the big picture trying to put it all together.
We're visiting with Jerry Wharton right now, the Director of Fine Arts on the Melissa Cardinals Network. We're here at the Dugout Sports Grill. This is the Cardinal Scoreboard Show. You are a fine arts guy, a band guy, but you are a sports guy too.
Absolutely.
You played it, you watch it, you're a sports fan. Talk about that part of your life.
Who I am today was strongly developed in Pee Wee football, 4th, 5th grade, 6th grade. Same thing, and then I got on to 7th grade, and Bob Arnold was my 7th grade football coach, Deion Burks. Those guys are what I consider, one was 70 years old and one was first starting his career, which is like any good middle school coaching staff. You have the old and the new that's holding it all together. And those guys instilled the hard work philosophy and that life is tough to me. And I went on to high school, and one of the coaches that I just absolutely admire is Jamie Driscoll, which is the son of Monty Jack Driscoll, which at the time was one of the most winningest coaches in the state of Texas. But Jamie is now the head football coach at Malakoff. Okay. And Malakoff 3A, they just lost out this past week. But, he's just one of those guys that he did everything with character. He did everything with hey, anything in life you're going to have, you have to earn it. You have to work hard for it. Struggle's going to be absolutely necessary, and is what you do next when you make a mistake is what's going to determine who you are. And all of those life philosophies, the friendships that I built while playing on sports teams, some of my greatest memories were not the ones where you had a win at the end of the game. It was the greatest memories of what we did the Monday after the Friday night, or the Saturday morning when we're watching film and we're evaluating. And the way we evaluated film when I was in high school with obviously a cassette tape or a VHS tape, we do the same thing in band now. It's very similar to what the coaches do with huddle. We're sitting there, we're going back and forth, we're turning off all the sound, and we're just watching. Why did that kid do that?
Right.
Why did they do this? Why didn't they see that? And it's no different from what a coach does. It's just a different way of coaching, right? It's art.
You are also a big fan of Melissa Cardinal sports,
Absolutely.
Of course. So talk about watching the games in person. You've watched online and listened online. So talk about being a fan.
Well, so a couple things I want to say. There's two really great moments in Melissa football history that I've been a part of. Gilmer, and being an East Texas guy, growing up in East Texas, you dream of beating Gilmer.
Right.
And that was we're at Mesquite Memorial Stadium, right? And the way we handled Gilmer that night, I say Mesquite Memorial, it may have been, no, it was Mesquite Memorial.
I think so.
It was the second time we played them in a row. And the way we handled Gilmer that night, it was not just a win for those boys out on the field or the coaches on the field. It was a win for our community. That same exact win we felt there was the same win we felt against Argyle this fall. And those are two of the wins and the two of the victories that, as an athlete, you want to win. You want to be a part of that win, right? But the way our community did that, I'm going to tell you, that Saturday morning, I'm waking up and I'm getting on YouTube and I'm watching our live stream on YouTube and I'm watching the show and I'm just replaying all those moments in my head. And as a band director, that night just happened to be a middle school night where we had about 350, 400 kids in the stands on the end zone on the south side. And I'm thinking as a band director, what can I do to create a home field advantage?
Yeah.
And, you go back and watch that video, you watch those red zone stops on the defensive stops we had in that 21-0 win. There were some moments that we pulled some flags, and we're proud of that. That the Gilmer game 4 years ago, same exact thing. We pulled some flags that night, and that's what we do. We try to create a home field advantage. We try to support our team. We try to support our coaches. Those guys, the beauty or one of the hidden beauties I have of living across the street from Coach Nally. Many times in the morning, we're following each other to school at 5:30, 5:45 in the morning, and many times at night, 9:30, 10, 11 at night, we're following each other home.
You could carpool,
Oh, we could. I'm not. If I can get home 30 seconds earlier, I'm getting him. But it's one of those things where when you're all on the same team, and I've taught in places where not everybody was on the same team, and that's what makes Team Melissa Team Melissa. We're all there for the right reasons. We're all there for our kids. We're all there for each other. And, we have our famous statement here in Melissa is, let's celebrate the success of each other. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, not only do we celebrate the success of each other, we also come and console each other when it's not what you want it to be and what the outcome wants to be. And, I'll never forget when Nally came to talk to me after our first contest, first week in October, and he just said, man, I'm sorry, y'all, you're going through some of the struggles you're going. I looked at him, I said, hey, it's part of it. And, I think I looked at him, I said, it's no different than week 1 and week 2 of what you guys endure. Yeah. And that gut check is so important for what we do.
Something that Kenny Deal and I talk about on the broadcast, I'm sure you've been told that we say it, is we think you guys lead the world in stuff.
We do.
Okay? Trucks full of stuff.
Yes.
Why all the stuff? Where does it all come from? What's the purpose of it? Who's carting it all around? Okay. Talk about it.
So the stuff, most importantly, that stuff's not possible if our families here don't take care of it through tax dollars and our generous booster club and just our parents that are so selfless and giving. That stuff allows us to be artistic. That stuff allows us to have a competitive edge on everyone else. That stuff is no different than a shoulder pad or a cutting edge technology helmet that we have on the football on Friday night. But we have a semi, we have a gooseneck trailer, and we have a whole load of transportation that comes along with it. And so when you look at the band and you look at your students, you look at your staff, our school district invests a lot of money in our staff and facilities. But what a lot of people don't see is they don't see the side of the semi, the Scott Humphreys of the world, the David Kings of the world, all of our other bus drivers that are with that group. They don't see our transportation department moving the world to make Friday night happen. I think Jared Castor, our transportation director, we talked about this morning at 7 a.m. Hey, we're going to have about 17 buses on the road on Friday night.
Wow.
And so not only is it Friday night football, you've got 4 band buses, you've got a cheer bus, you've got 3 or 4 football buses Friday night. You also have our middle school band that's out on Friday night. You have basketball that's out. You have robotics that's out. And so there's a big moving puzzle and set of pieces that are rotating around in Melissa to make everybody successful. So our parents, our Trina Fenders of the world, the Kent Norwoods, the
my man Marty Guin, the
Marty
producer of
Guin,
our radio show.
Marty Guin, and you just go on and on with our Manginelli family. There are families that have been a staple in this community, and most importantly, a staple in our band family that's been here since the very beginning. And one of the beauties, Trina Fender has her daughter who is a senior this year, Casey, and Trina's had 3 students come through our program, and her oldest was a part of the band program when it was 2 years old. When band was not the cool thing to do, when band was not the thing to be a part of in Melissa, to where we've gained validity and where our football players and our cheerleaders and our band members can all sit together at the same table on a Friday night and everybody sees where everybody adds value. And that's what's one of the things that are so unique to what we do in Melissa. And that starts with our leadership of our football program, our cheer coach, our athletic director, our superintendent, our campus principal. I mean, you're not going to find a greater supporter of band and athletics and fine arts, most in general, other than Kenneth Wooten himself.
All you East Texas guys.
Oh, yeah. Well, and we didn't know each other. Or I didn't know.
Like the mafia over there.
It's hard work. If you can be successful in East Texas with no resources, you can move up here and have all the resources in the world and be a highly productive person. And God has His way in time, and God has His way of putting us in the right place at the right time. And I think this is a prime example of why we're in Melissa and why here and why now.
Our special guest on this show, the Cardinal Scoreboard Show, has been Jerry Wharton, the Director of Fine Arts for Melissa Schools. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Passengers from the flight deck, this is your captain welcoming you aboard Melissa Airlines Flight 2021 with service from Melissa High School, San Antonio, Texas. We have a short 7-minute and 30-second flight ahead of us. We do expect some mild turbulence along the way, so if at this time you would stow away any carry-on items and put cellular devices into airplane mode, we will be ready for takeoff shortly.
The next band in Conference 4A is the Melissa High School Marching Band. Melissa High School's program is entitled Flight 2021 and includes Rhapsody in Blue, Fly Like an Eagle, One Day I'll Fly Away, Mr. Blue Sky, Thunderstruck, Fly Away, and Learn to Fly. Drum majors Autumn Bell, Sydney Smith, Jackson Thomas, and Skylar Card, you may begin your performance for the finals of the UIL State Marching Band Championship.
Thank you for choosing Melissa Airlines and enjoy your flight.
from Melissa, Texas, the Melissa High School Marching Band.
As you've seen and heard, Jerry Wharton is leading a tremendous program. We say again, congratulations to the Mighty Cardinal Band for their tremendous performance at the state band competition, finishing third in state in Class 4A. We also know that this has been a different look to the Cardinals broadcast that you're used to, but we'll be back with Matt and Allie talking about Melissa Cardinals football next Monday night. I do invite you and your family to join us in our church home on Sundays, 9 a.m. or 10:15 a.m. in person. 11:30 a.m. online. Go to firstmelissa.com to find out more. Find your next church home at First Melissa. So for Matt and Allie, for Mike Dembski, the general manager of the Dugout Sports Grill, for Jerry Wharton, this is Trey Graham saying good night. See you next week. We'll talk more Melissa Cardinals football.